the best time to join crypto is now. It really is. I want to see if you trust me enough for me to share some feedback with you. I want to see that I trust you enough to not be afraid to say something real to you. Nothing is ever as bad as it seems, and nothing is ever as good as it seems, like keeping a level head.
When you're running a company, it's the worst thing you can do is spread yourself too thin, right? But then you have to be flexible. Then you have to jump on trends. Like, how do you decide which one is the real winner?
Crypto is feast and famine, right? Like sometimes you eat really well and sometimes it feels really, really bad. It feels like you're crazy for working in this industry. We stop predicting like what is going to happen. But what we bet on is something that's timeless. That's something that I know is going to be true even 10 years, 20 years from now. I'll call meme coins as, it's like attention, right? Tokenized attention.
I would like you to name maybe 3 to 5 projects that you are betting very big on.
A few favorite projects in crypto. So I think number one, this is something that I've loved for a long time. It's a really new project, but I love.
Got the whole crypto world going wild. Money blockchain, she's the queen of the game. Stacking crypto like it's her claim to fame. If you want success, then take a look away.
Hi, Jack.
How's it going?
You're the co-founder of Magic Eden. I want to know about how you grew up, what you were doing before Magic Eden.
I'll tell you a little bit about my life. And actually, my life is, before Magic Eden was actually kind of deeply tied with crypto and actually a lot of my co-founders as well. We've all been friends for a long time. So, but basically the story was, I grew up in China. I moved to Australia when I was very young in primary school, and that's where I grew up. And in high school, that's actually where I met our technical co-founder, our CTO, Sid. Like we went to high school together, we went to like math tutoring together on the weekend. That was where we first met. So we've known each other since we were like 15. What happened was during college, Sid and I, we would hang out and we were really into startups. So we would try different ideas. And one thing that Sid did was, this was around 2014 when we first graduated from college. That was when like the first Bitcoin bull market was happening. And he said, you know what? I want to do this crypto thing because not a lot of people are doing it. So he actually started a Bitcoin company in 2014 and like raised some money and moved to the US. Because he was one of my best friends, I was very inspired. He said, hey, you know what? You should come to the US and, maybe you should join my company, right? So I went to Boston to check out what he was doing. And then I said, hey, dude, I don't know about not that much of business. I don't know that much about building software, but I just definitely know your business is not going to work. That's basically what I told him. And then I said, dude, I can't jump into this. I'm sorry. I have to go back to Australia and find like a real job, like a quote unquote real job. But what happened was, it was in some ways it was a good move because his business like went down in flames a few months later. Like from that moment on, this was 2014. That's when I started learning about Bitcoin and started learning about crypto, and I thought it was really fascinating. And it was so OG. Like at that time, crypto was not on X. It was not on Twitter, right? It was on like Bitcoin.org, like these like really old school forums. And I went back to Australia. And long story short, I joined a big consulting company in Australia. Then they sent me to the US, sent me to San Francisco in the Bay Area, and I changed jobs to get into like tech, do product management. But what ultimately happened was almost like at every point in my life or in my career at that point where I had the opportunity to change jobs, I thought about joining crypto because I thought about this experience I had with Sid where he was asking me to join crypto. So when I came first to the US, I said, oh, maybe I should join a crypto company. And then I moved to Google and I was like switching between different teams at Google. And I thought, man, maybe I should join a crypto company. But each time I felt like, I also had some fear. I was like, oh, this feels super weird. Like, is this going to survive? Like, what's the state of the technology? So I didn't jump in. I just mostly dabbled in playing with tokens and playing with coins and buying coins and stuff. But ultimately, it was in 2021 where there was this huge NFT boom, right? And I thought, actually, this feels like a consumer moment for crypto. Like, it's no longer talking about hardcore trading. It's no longer talking about really like complicated financial terms for the everyday person to understand, right? Like, staking, consensus algorithms, kind of stuff. No, it's no longer really about like deep infrastructure, like which chain is faster. NFTs was more about partying, culture, games, shit talking on the internet. To me, that's what consumer is. It's what like the everyday person finds interesting, right? It's like funny, it's entertaining, it's something that you can relate to. 2021, that's when I thought, hey, maybe there's something here. We should do something. Then I caught Sid back and he was like, not doing crypto anymore. And I said, hey man, like let's do round two. You know, you started a crypto company like, you know, in the 2014 bull cycle, but this time there could be something real. So that's how we basically got the company started.
You said you worked at Google, and I assume you were making pretty comfortable salary. Take me back to the moment when you're like, F this, I'm starting my own thing. What were you thinking?
I think there were a couple of things. Because of this story of seeing one of my really close friends starting a company in crypto in 2014, I already had this thought of like, hey, I want to do something. Why didn't I want to jump into crypto before this? I always felt like I did not have an edge. I felt that most of crypto's history, it's been either about hyper financialization, so hardcore trading, or it's been about deep infrastructure. So then hardcore trading is like people who worked on Wall Street, built exchanges, built trading shops. Those people could had outside success, right? And then hardcore infra is like, oh, if you have a PhD in computer science, you worked on distributed systems, then you could build the next chain, and that those people had outside success. But most of my career has been in consumer internet, like UI, UX, building delightful experiences, how to build things with millions of users. And I always felt like, well, I have nothing to contribute to this space because that's not what this space valued. But what happened was in 2021, like effectively there was like rise of Solana, fast chains. There was rise of like consumer use case, like NFTs, like culture, games, art. That's when I thought, hey, this is a unique moment where I could actually contribute something. And then at that time also, I felt that, I guess it was in COVID, right? Like during COVID, I don't know, like a lot of people started thinking about what they're really into. And I had the similar feeling. My similar feeling was I got like a lot of good logos on my CV, but I didn't feel like I was doing something for myself. And ultimately, when I was at Google, I felt like, man, I have nothing left to prove. I've worked on a bunch of these products. A lot of the products scaled to like billions of dollars in revenue. And I thought, I don't need to collect any more logo like CV credentials. Actually, I should do something for myself. So all of this basically came full circle together.
And you talked about Solana, and Magic Eden started as Solana-based NFT marketplace. Solana obviously dropped to single digit after the last crypto crash, and now it's all-time high. Are people bullish enough?
The story of Solana really resonates with us at Magic Eden. So I think the key thing is about thinking long-term, having a lot of conviction in the thing that you're building, and then telling yourself like nothing is ever as bad as it seems, and nothing is ever as good as it seems, like keeping a level head. So I'll tell you the two stories. I think one is Solana going from $250 to $8 and then having its renaissance. But then us knowing Raj and Anatoly pretty well and seeing them having so much conviction, having so much calm through that when the whole world did not believe them, I think that's actually a very inspirational story. And that energy is something that we try to embody within Magic Eden as well. And then in Magic Eden, we had like the same mirror basically, because when Solana was 250 and they dropped to $8, we saw our revenue drop 99%, right? It almost meant that nothing we did at Magic Eden mattered because the sold price was so low. Yeah. And then at that time, I think one of the best things that we did for Magic Eden is to expand cross-chain. So then we like went to Polygon, ETH, Bitcoin, and became one of the only crypto projects that have like a lot of traction in different ecosystems. And at that time, during the bear market, everyone was saying this is crazy. And now, Magic Eden in 2024, we've had our best year ever, like our most profitable year. But it's because of those high convictions bets that we made when it was really, really down. So I think all of that is saying we love this energy, like high conviction energy from Sol, and then we also try to embody that at Magic Eden. It's also helped us.
What was it like when Sol was at 8? Like, what was the energy? You said it's high energy, but how do you stay positive when it's $8?
This is something we say at Magic Eden from really early, like month one at Magic Eden. We tell the whole team, nothing is ever as bad as it seems and nothing is ever as good as it seems. In fact, I just told my team 2 weeks ago, we had like a company offsite and I said exactly the same thing because it's bull market, things are going to get crazy. And what that really means is when things are really good, like bull market, you feel like you're the master of the universe. It's actually not like that. And we should like pare ourselves down and be more humble and be more level-headed. But in the bear market, as you say, when SOL is at $8, we should also tell ourselves nothing is ever as bad as it seems. If you're building something fundamental, focus on the inputs, then the outputs will prove itself. That's the thing that we've been telling our team from month one, like very, very early on. And I think it's really important. How can you have conviction? The only way to have conviction is to say, hey, when we did really, really well, we should also recognize there was a healthy dose of luck, right? We worked really hard, but the universe was looking out for us as well. So we should be humble. And then when things are really bad, we should also tell ourselves like, but fundamentally, the team did not drop 99%. The product that we built did not drop 99%, right? Our talent did not drop 99%. So we should still have belief within ourselves about the strategy and the mission that we are on. So yeah, that's something that we've been telling ourselves for a very, very long time.
I feel like that's what true leaders do. Like they encourage their team, but I don't think anybody is born a leader. And as you mentioned, you raised 130 mil in 9 months. So I want to ask you, so how and where did you learn how to fundraise? Because Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, he said he still can't figure out how to write a business plan. How did you do it?
I don't think we wrote like a business plan as well. We had a vision, maybe a couple of things, right? I would say there is no silver bullets. There's only lead bullets. What I mean by that is like, there's no one single thing. You just have to do a lot of small things. How did we raise money? I think the core of it is, well, we were executing really well from all these like small things leading up to it. And that gave us the credibility to raise. It wasn't that it was an amazing like sales pitch or an amazing PowerPoint deck or anything, but it was more a testament to a lot of the execution that we did leading up to that point. And it wasn't just me, it was the whole team. I cannot take full credit but by any means. I only contribute a small part. It was more that our whole team contributed to the success, and the success then led us to be able to raise that much. I think the second thing is that having like a long-term thesis and long-term mission is really important. And this is something that is very much related to the thing I said earlier, like think long-term, nothing is ever as good as it seems, nothing is ever as bad as it seems. This is something that we had very early. But crypto as an industry is very short-term. People just build products for a year, a few months, print a token, get rich, and then leave. And what we have always wanted to do at Magic Eden is to outline some long-term thesis. So the same story for us was, we believe in a multi-chain world. We believe in a multi-chain world, therefore we are going to be a multi-chain marketplace. And therefore we are going to build a team that can do this. And we have thesis about why multi-chain is the way, because we want to onboard casual users, and those casual users really value convenience, one single place to see everything. And I think that spirit of having a thesis really early on, having the thesis of multi-chain, but then sticking with it, and of course the execution that led up to it, that's what gave us credibility to do that stuff. But as I said, it was no one single silver bullet, but just like a lot of lead bullets along the way.
Would you say meme coin is NFT 2.0?
I've had someone ask me that a couple of times recently. So I think my short answer is no, but I'll give it in a few different layers. Number one, how we see NFTs is just a technology, and creators use that technology to build use cases on top of it. And then there's use cases like PFPs, music, gaming tickets, yada, yada, yada. That's how we see NFTs. And the relationship with meme coins is this. I think in every technology, there is a speculative use case. So just like NFTs can be used for speculation for PFPs, like fungible tokens, like ERC20s, SPLs, they can also be used for speculation. And meme coins, I think, is effectively like speculation based on, fungible tokens, and PFPs is some element of speculation based on NFT technology. But how I see the space evolving is, if you take fungible tokens, eventually multiple use cases exist. There is like speculation use case, then there's utility use case, then there's other things. And you could see that before, right? In 2017, when ICO was really hot, it was basically a speculation, but eventually some tokens with utility like Solana, they rose to the top and those things became massive. I think for NFTs, it's going to be the same. There's this like speculative aspect, like PFPs and so on and so forth. But then we will also see other categories rise as well, which uses technology for like utility use cases. So that's basically how I see the relationship between it. So I don't think like meme coins is NFT 2.0 because that's like using a use case to explain the technology. But I think definitely like there is both things can have some speculative aspect and those things will continue to live. And, that's a part and parcel of just being in crypto.
And do you think NFT will still be a big thing this cycle?
To me, the story of NFTs for this cycle is even if NFTs is still pretty moderate, even if it's much lower than the last bull market, I still have a lot of belief that Magic Eden, we're going to do really well because of the strategies that we put in and because of the product that we built. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is that we are have this core part of our product, which is doing like profile photos, Ordinals, BTC, this kind of thing. But we are also seeing some really interesting new categories as well. So one of the categories that we've always been really hot for NFTs is gaming. And this cycle now I think we're seeing some new games that is really living up to the dream that we had before. So there is Off the Grid, which is built on Avalanche, and we're going to do a partnership with them. That one is basically, it has like 5 million users, number one on the Epic Game Store. People don't really know it's crypto, but that thing is going to print like millions of NFTs. And of course, we would like to be the commerce layer for those. And I think it just needs a few hits for like that to bring it to life. So that's the second thing. And I think the third thing for us is Magic Eden, our business, after we adopt the ME token, for example, it's really going to the next chapter. And what we want to be and what we're going to look like is, I think, like an on-chain version of Binance, where we can trade multiple different types of categories of assets. But it's all decentralized and it's all on-chain. So for that, today, like fungible token trading is already 20% of our business. So it's already pretty big and it's only going to grow bigger. So I think for this cycle, it doesn't really matter to us whether NFTs come back this cycle or not. But I think for us, we're always going to have like a platform and a business that's going to be able to ride multiple different waves.
Earlier, you were talking about BRC20. So you're known for being very fast and flexible. So when you saw BRC20, you're like, hey, let's add this to the platform. Am I correct?
Yes, we added BRC20, but I think for Bitcoin fungible tokens, probably what we're more known for is runes, which is like effectively like the newer version of BRC20s. But yeah.
Right. That too. Okay, so my question for you, as a company, like when you're running a company, it's the worst thing you can do is spread yourself too thin, right? But then you have to be flexible. Then you have to jump on trends. Like, how do you decide which one is the real winner?
There's a very, very true part of your question, which is it's very dangerous to spread yourself too thin. We think about it as mission versus opportunity. In generally, we try to put our mind as 70% mission, 30% opportunity. And of course, it's not like a hard and fast rule. I'm not like measuring it with like a tape ruler. It's like, am I 70%? It's not. It's just to convey a spirit. The spirit of it means this. Crypto is very fast moving and everything is changing all at the same time. We have to have a long-term vision and a long-term mission for what we are building. For example, the first chapter of Magic Eden is to become the #1 cross-chain NFT marketplace, which we did. And we have like 60-70% market share in terms of revenue within NFTs. The next chapter of Magic Eden in terms of long-term mission is to become on-chain Binance, trade multiple assets across multiple categories, all chains, all assets. That's our long-term mission. And we put the vast majority of our effort, let's say like 70%, towards that mission, right? And we have to build a product. We have a vision for what the product looks like. But 30% opportunity is like, well, but we should always keep an open mind. So the 30% of keeping an open mind is, as you say, like how Bitcoin happened, how runes happened, how ordinals happened, because we saw things in the ecosystem and we're like, oh, we're very, very interested in doing that. And then we should actually take a side quest to do this really well. So that is what mission opportunity means. Then to your question of not spreading yourself thin, the other thing that we tell ourselves is whatever we build, we try to build best in class. Like we would like to be the best product for that category for what we are trying to do. We don't want to build like half-assed things, right? Basically, to put that simply. So therefore, if we actually decide to take a bet and it's a side quest, ultimately the way we think about it is, yeah, we have to resource that accordingly. We have to put a team that's really passionate about it. They're happy to dig at it, grind at it for a long time to ultimately to build something that's really good.
Like if someone wants to work for you, what's the first question?
I usually ask them a question about motivation. So I tell them like, hey, crypto is feast and famine, right? Like sometimes you eat really well and sometimes it feels really, really bad. It feels like you're crazy for working in this industry. So why do you want to work in crypto, and what gives you the motivation to keep going when times are really bad? And usually we want to hire people not because people are joining Magic Eden because the times are good, but we want to hire people because you'll still be here when times are really bad as well, and you'll have conviction to stick through. So that's my number one question.
I see. You said Magic Eden is really profitable. So if I read correctly online, you are the most profitable NFT marketplace, but not the one with the most market share. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say whether marketplace with the most volume, right? But I also think that volume is like a vanity metric. It's very easy to be gamed, and that's why we chose like revenue and users as our metrics. And I would say Magic Eden is the number one platform by users and number one platform by revenue. Yeah.
User count, you mean?
User count, yeah.
Can you break it down for me? So obviously there are other platforms that started earlier, right?
Yeah. So how do we become this? Yeah. So a couple of things like, so I think Magic Eden is number one by users over the past year, right? And then of course then we cannot look at like all lifetime because we've only been around for 3 years. Some other platforms have been around for much longer. But over the past year, Magic Eden is number one by users and number one by revenue. Just to close the loop on a previous point, I think that only when users are willing to pay for the product that you build, to me, that is the true sign of product market fit, right? Then it's like, oh, we are actually building something that's valuable. So we stop looking at volume. We only look at users and revenue. And to your question of how do we get there? I think there's two parts to our strategy. One is betting on cross-chain, which is like horizontal. And then the other one is building a wallet on top of our marketplace, which is going vertical, right? It's like vertical integration. I think going cross-chain this is the thesis we had from day one, which is crypto is too hard to predict what's going to happen. I think this is very related to the previous questions, like you have to be flexible. It's too hard to predict. It's hard to predict like why volume is really high today, why this meta is really hot today, why meme coins is hot. It's impossible. It's impossible to build a long-term company like that. Therefore, our strategy is this, which is we don't predict. we stop predicting like what is going to happen. But what we bet on is something that's timeless, that's something that I know is going to be true even 10 years, 20 years from now. And what is timeless is that most users, like except for very advanced users, most users, they want something that's simple and they want something that's convenient and they want something that's trusted. That's what they want. So if I have a marketplace that gives them the maximum range, it's like Amazon. So whatever you want to look for today, whatever is hot today, you can come and find on Magic Eden. Then we are happy to bet that strategy, and we'll have to bet on that strategy for 10 years, right? So this is why we did cross-chain, we did Sol, Bitcoin, ETH, and we're like number one in a lot of ecosystems. So that is about betting on cross-chain. And it's a very expensive strategy because you have to have multiple teams working on multiple pieces of technology. The second thing is to the point of like, why do we even have the most users, right? We built our own wallet. So one of the things I realized in the last bull market, Magic Eden, we did a lot of partnerships with like big brands. So I did like partnerships with Shaquille O'Neal, partnerships with like Tomorrowland, you know, but no users came to Magic Eden. Why? Because they hear about Magic Eden, they hear about Shaquille O'Neal, and then they have to go to Coinbase, then they go download a wallet, Phantom or MetaMask, and by the time it comes to Magic Eden, I get 0.001% of the users. We cannot grow like that, right? And of course, when we are a cross-chain platform, I cannot force the user to download Phantom for Solana, download MetaMask for Ethereum, download Xverse for Bitcoin. That's not going to make it. We cannot grow. So that's why we built our own wallet to say, now you have one-stop shop. You want to use any chain, you want to use Base, Ape Chain, Bitcoin, just use the Magic Eden wallet, and then you can connect to all the chains at the same time. You can easily bridge your funds between different chains, and that allows us to grow as well. So that is how we were able to basically acquire more users by basically making these seamless and doing this like one-stop shop strategy.
I love that because sometimes when I talk to really OG founders, they're just like, oh, we have this product. You just need to swap and cross and do this and this trick and that trick. And then you get there. And so it's easy, right? And I'm like, no, it's not. It's
not.
So I love
it's not. And then, yeah, that's why, it's like, that's why we pursue this, all chains, all assets strategy. And that's why we pursue this like, a product that's about simplicity, right? And this is all even like back to your first question 1, like why do we start Magic Eden? What's my story? My story is in consumer internet, building for hundreds of millions of users. And to your point, it's almost like why are we surprised as an industry that we don't have hundreds of millions of users on chain? Yeah, because you cannot force users to download 5 different wallets, use 5 different dApps that basically do the same thing, right? And then you have to go find the bridge and like do this, do that. It's too complicated, right? It's too complicated.
And a lot of people have to fake that they understand to fit in. I feel like that's what people go through. They have to be like, oh yeah, of course I know how to use that. Of course I know how to swap. And people are like, they actually don't know. I think that's the struggle a lot of people go through.
No, definitely. When we decided to launch Magic Eden Wallet, so Magic Eden Wallet, most of our focus is on mobile app. Our mobile app launched 3 months ago. We've got 150,000 downloads, which I think is pretty good for 3 months, 3 months of work. But to answer your question, why did we decide to do Magic Eden Wallet? We wanted to basically acquire users, but I remember asking inside the company, I said, how many people have tried our Bitcoin marketplace? And of course, our Bitcoin marketplace is one of our most successful products. Like we have 99%, share of the market. It's doing really great. And only like 5% of the company or 10% of the company have used the marketplace.
No way.
I said, guys, this is actually the problem of our industry. We at Magic Eden, we are like a NFT, very deep NFT company. We are all very crypto native. We are like advanced users of crypto. And we even have not even tried Bitcoin. Then I said, man, if we cannot even get 100% of Magic Eden to use our Bitcoin marketplace, how can we expect to onboard hundreds of millions of users? It's not going to work. So this is why we have to bet deep and have conviction.
Did you pivot after you asked that question?
We were already decided to build our own wallet, but we were thinking how much priority and how much resourcing to put in it. Because it's so heavy, like building a wallet is like building a separate company, right? There's entire companies dedicated to building wallets. But once I gave that very simple example, everyone understood. It's like, okay, we have the strategy. We want to onboard a lot of users. It's not going to work unless we make the wallet work. We have to make the wallet work. And then that's when we decided to bet really deep and go and build something really good.
I mean, it's so simple, but I love it. Yeah, it's just so simple. You ask questions and you get the answer.
Yeah.
We have a lot of newcomers because of Bitcoin all-time high and like all the, bull run news all over the place. So for people that don't understand BRC20, Ordinals, or runes, how would you explain to them?
Runes, BRC20s, you can basically think about it as like fungible tokens on Bitcoin. Or today, runes is basically meme coins on Bitcoin. And Ordinals is effectively like NFTs on Bitcoin. And how I would explain it to them is probably in terms of the opportunity, right? I don't know if you've seen this graph on Twitter. I think that graph is like really interesting to show to newcomers, but it's basically like the size of meme coins and DeFi that's on Bitcoin versus meme coins and DeFi on Ethereum versus meme coins and DeFi on Sol. And of course, like meme coins and DeFi on Ethereum and Sol is like very big, but it's very small on Bitcoin. And to me, like, that's how I would explain to people, like, the opportunity is huge. Now it's possible to have meme coins and DeFi on Bitcoin through runes, right? Through Ordinals, through BRC20s. And if you get in here, then it's like a lot of upside, right? There's a lot of innovation, a lot of white space, and of course, a lot of growth potential as well. So basically, that's how I would explain it to them.
Bitcoin is being called digital gold, but Solana is not, Ethereum is not. So I feel okay betting my soul on meme coins, but I would, be very nervous if I bet my Bitcoin on meme coin. What do you say to that?
Basically, what I would say is like there are different types of users with different types of motivations. It's the same, like I don't know how much of my portfolio I will put into meme coins, but I know there's people like even in our company who put like 80-90% of their portfolio into meme coins.
Oh man.
I think yeah, exactly. So to me, it's just, there's always going to be different investors, users in the ecosystem with different motivations. Some people want to hold for a really long time and they have a narrative that they really resonate with. And some people want to like go for like fast flips, and that's okay. We have a different type of product for a different thing. The thing that I would definitely share with you, and I think I basically share your sentiment, which is Bitcoin is like the mainstream crypto for this cycle. It's like the thing that has global brand, and we're in the fortunate position to be like the largest DApp on Bitcoin. And what we want to do is not just do runes, not just do ordinals, but eventually as new innovations happen on Bitcoin, we want to do those things as well. Like if lending, if Bitcoin L2s, those things become live and possible, of course, we also would like to innovate in those areas so that as Bitcoin gets more mainstream adoption, then we basically ride the brand as the best place to buy Bitcoin, to trade Bitcoin assets, to lend Bitcoin, like all of these kind of things. That's something that we're very interested in.
I guess your parents might ask you what you're busy doing every day. And you're like, oh, there's this thing called meme coin that's, very popular in crypto right now. And they're like, what's meme coin? How would you explain?
Yeah, I don't know if I would tell my parents about meme coin. Basically, I'll call meme coins as, it's like attention, right? Tokenized attention. And the way I kind of explain crypto in general to a lot of people is crypto has this financial technology aspect to it. And one of crypto's superpowers is that you can create markets on things that did not have markets before, right? You can allow things to be traded on things and concepts that couldn't be traded before. Like NFTs is a good example. And now I think meme coins is the same. Like the concept of attention, you cannot trade that. That was not like something that could be assetified, right? But now with crypto and with this like very like long tail financial technology, you can turn that thing into an asset and give it a price and allow it to be traded. So I think meme coins is kind of like that. What I would actually say that though is, it's super volatile. It's super risky. I don't know if I would recommend them to go into it. But it appeals to certain people. Like there are a bunch of like folks within our company who are really hot on it, and we're also developing products for that in our mobile app, and it's getting traction. So yeah, horses for courses. Some users find this really helpful, and we're happy to serve those users. Yeah.
ME Foundation's TGE is in December, and what's the strategy behind it?
Magic Eden, we're like adopting the ME token, right? And like ME Foundation is a separate company, so like they should talk about their strategy, but I can talk a little bit about our strategy for like adopting the ME token. Right. For Magic Eden, after we adopt the ME token, effectively there is going to be 3 big pillars to our strategy. And our vision is to make digital ownership universal, which is basically to onboard hundreds of millions of users on-chain, right, into our platform, but also experience the on-chain economy. Those 3 pillars are like product, the ME token, and community. Product, as I've mentioned before, is the next chapter is we want to become on-chain Binance, trade fungible tokens, trade NFTs, all chains, all assets. And I think that's really important because we as an industry, we are actually moving towards more fragmentation and more complexity. There's like more chains. There's more dApps that basically do the same thing. There's more wallets that basically do the same thing. And as we've been talking about, it's very hard for newcomers to really understand what's going on, right? It's really, really hard for newcomers to understand what's going on. And we believe that because we've learned so much about going cross-chain, about going deep in each ecosystem and getting traction, we are the right team to build this product of all chains, all assets that will look like an on-chain version of Binance. I think like what we learned from the NFT space is we already have product market fit. we're able to grow, we're able to have like diversified platforms, but we're also able to build something very seamless. That's the product aspect of it. What we then want to use ME to do is basically catalyze us into the next stage of our growth. So we want to show our users and show the community what the next version of Magic Eden is going to look like. That's why adopting ME is going to happen in our mobile app. In a mobile app, you can then see like, oh, there's token trading as well. We allow like swaps from Bitcoin to Sol, some very, very unique things that will happen in the mobile app. And this is all to show the community what the next stage of Magic Eden, the product is going to be. So that's number one. I think the number two is, I think adopting the token is a way to unify the community. And what we want to do, especially with this bull market, is then to rally the community behind our mission. Our mission is make digital ownership universal. And that means building really simple retail-oriented products, abstracting away the complexity for everyone and having everyone to have this like convenient one-stop shop. And of course, doing it with a team that's very long-term aligned. So to me, if I can use the token to rally and unify the community behind our mission, I think this is going to be really powerful for us to build evangelists and bring like more users onto the space and bring more users into our ecosystem. So that's basically our thinking behind adopting the ME token, how we can best show off our next version of our product, but also rally the community behind what we're doing.
Not financial advice, but I would like you to name maybe 3 to 5 projects or maybe just altcoin trends that you are betting very big on, except for, of course, Magic Eden is one of them.
Yeah, so so not financial advice, and I generally I'm not going to talk about tokens because
right.
Our philosophy is more like long-term builders. But yeah, a few favorite projects in crypto. So I think number one, this is something that I've loved for a long time, but it's Brave, the browser. I also think it's honestly one of those products that is bringing more people into crypto, but most people don't even realize they're using a crypto product. And they probably have one of the biggest crypto applications in the space altogether. The last numbers I saw was like 50 million monthly active users, probably more by this stage. So
wow.
In general, I love that project, right? About building for the long term, bringing more users on the space. It's a really new project, but I love Moonshot. It's like this meme coin trading app. It basically, again, it's this story of like simplicity. You don't have to build something really degen, really complicated, really for the pro user. And actually, Moonshot has really shown that it's onboarding like millennial, Gen Z, basically like a very young audience into crypto. And a lot of those folks don't even have a Coinbase account. There's a really big market out there and a market that's waiting to be onboarded into crypto, but we just have to build the right product for them. So those are the two that I think I love. Something that's very OG, like Brave, and something that's very new. But in general, I think it goes to the ethos of like bringing more folks to the space, not following the everyday trend of like crypto Twitter.
What's your advice for people that want to start their own project or maybe work at a crypto company? What's the advice?
The best time to join crypto is now. It really is. I think about my story of like first coming in contact with crypto in 2014, 10 years ago. And we had these dreams of like building amazing crypto products. But back then it was not possible. But today it really is possible. So I think it's the best time to join now. And then the other thing I would say is move quick today, but think long-term over many years. Believe in something that's authentic to you and just build it over the long term. I actually think that there's not enough people doing that. And if you actually do that, then you'll actually stand out. That's the best way to stand out.
But then it's very hard for people to do it alone. You found, your best friends, they are your co-founders. How do you actually identify the good quality in your potential co-founder?
Because the number one reason why startups fail is the co-founders start to hate each other and they disband. That's actually the number one reason I think is very, very important. I think to your question of how do you find the best quality is really trust. And what trust means is, are you able to say something really real to your co-founders about something that you really don't like about what they're doing? And then they will take it the right way and say, hey, thank you for sharing that feedback with me. Let's work on how we can improve this together.
Wow.
I think that's the most important thing. But actually, one of the best things that I think contributed to where Magic Eden is today and why we are successful today is we did so much work to say, hey, we should just be real. We should actually tell each other what we're feeling. And what we're feeling, some of them could be very uncomfortable. There could be some very uncomfortable truths. But we are not saying it to criticize each other or with negative intention. It's not that. It's something that needs to be said, but it needs to be said so that we can make our relationship stronger and make the company better. Being able to say that without feeling like you'll be taken the wrong way or feeling afraid to not say it, I think that's a signal for trust. And if you have that trust, then the co-founders will really come together and build something great together.
Sounds like romantic relationships. It's the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, I think that's true because you should be doing that with your like husband and wife. It's the same thing, right? Like, you should be talking about some real shit, and working through it. And if you don't talk about it, you can't hide away from it because you need to talk about it eventually anyway, right? So I think there is some truth to that.
But I do feel like though, it is not something you can know before you have a conflict. It's like when you're picking your co-founders, everyone's like so nice. Yeah, of course I'm a people person. I accept criticism. And when shit really hit the fan, everyone's like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's very difficult.
Yes. Well, before you start a business together, I think you probably know a little bit. You know a little bit about what that person is and do you have that trust or not, right? You probably know a little bit. And in general, I think this will feel really like motherhood apple pie, like really like fluffy, but I think you would know it in your heart. If your heart says, hey, I'm not fully comfortable, eventually those small things will turn into very big things. What we actually do inside Magic Eden is it's like every problem is an opportunity. There's a really great saying, it's called the obstacle is the way. And what it means is that when you face an obstacle, that is the problem that comes with success. And you have to just see it as an opportunity to get through it. We should be glad conflict happens because when the conflict happens, that's then an opportunity for all of us to get to know each other. Then you have a real example to say, hey, I want to see if you trust me enough for me to share some feedback with you. I want to see that I trust you enough to not be afraid to say something real to you, right? And for us to work through it. And you cannot shy away from that. Like we have to lean into it, right? The obstacle is the way.
I really like that. That's going to be in the highlight. I love it. Advice for newcomers, like new retail users?
What I would actually say is that, especially over the last bear cycle, so like let's say the last 2 years, 2.5 years, crypto got a really bad name, right? Crypto got a bad name. Like people went to jail. Some really famous founders went to jail. Some really famous blogs happened. Even as a builder, as a founder in the space, I felt it because a lot of people will say, man, like crypto's a scam. Why are you working here? And to the newcomers that's joining the industry, what I want to tell them is, hey, high integrity and goodness and people building something for the long term live here. And I hope that and ultimately goodness resonates with good people. And for those newcomers who are in the space, who are searching for a brand that's high trust, who are building a product that makes their lives easier, who are going to be here for the long term and not like rug, right? And whose incentives are fully aligned with them. Those companies and those products exist. And Magic Eden is one of them, but there are many that's like us as well. So I hope that they can come here, not just like see the innovation of what this crypto and what this technology is, which is fun, is exciting, but they can still see that like integrity and goodness is here as well. And they can find a company and find a project that they resonate with and they can follow.
It's been great talking to you, honestly. And thank you for all the stories. I love them.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity, Bonnie.